So this is pretty good. So at this stage we have two platforms, we have the player, and what we could do is start to create objects to collect. So those could be coins, for instance. So what we'll do in next session is create a sprite, give it some color, and then add a collider to it and make sure that the player can collect it using a script. So we'll create a sprite the same as we've done before. So again, we're going to create, then sprites, and then square. Actually, circle, because it's going to be a coin. So again, it will create a brand new sprite in the project window. We will rename that coin. And then again, drag and drop this new sprite onto the scene. Okay, so when this is done, it will create a brand new object called coins. You can see that in the hierarchy view, COIN. And again, we can double click on this particular object in this hierarchy view to be able to see it a bit better. So again, double click or Control F will actually help a bit. So again, we will move it thanks to the move tool. Okay, if you look in the top left corner, is the object or the tool symbolized by a cross. And again, you can then drag and drop the different handles. So again, we'll move it slightly up. Then the next thing we will do is change its color. So again, using the exact same attribute as before, we can set its color to yellow, for instance. Okay, so once this is done, the next thing we need to do is to again add a collider to it, because remember, no collider means no collision detected, but in our case we want to detect whether we are colliding with this particular object. So that's the reason why we're doing that. And then we will create a tag. So again, a tag is basically an object, or a tag is like, a tag is something that you apply to an object to be able to recognize it. So in our particular case, what we're doing here is creating a brand new tag, applying it to this object, and then whenever we are colliding with an object with our player, we will get to understand or to know what is the tag of the object that we are actually colliding with. So once this is done, we're pretty much okay. The next thing we need to do is to create a brand new C# script in which we'll implement the collision. So again, we will call this script detect collision. So again, we can select the name of the script straight away, double click on the script, and it should open either MonoDevelop or the Microsoft Developer Tools, either way. So by default, it should be MonoDevelop. So again, as you do that, it should open the script. As you double click on it, it should actually open the script. Okay, so once this is done, we should be able to actually modify the script. Okay, so once you open the new window, basically you have the two default functions, start and update. And in addition to that, what we will do is create a brand new function called onCollision enter 2D. And this function will be then used to be able to detect collision. So again, it will actually, whenever this function is called, so whenever there is a collision between the object linked to the script and a different object that already also has a collider, this function onCollision enter 2D will be called. Again, it's case sensitive, so it's going to be all uppercase at the start. We're going to create a string variable. This string variable will store the value of, or the tag of the object that we are colliding with. And once this is done, we just need to check if it is basically pick me, the tag that we have created before. And if that's the case, we can actually then destroy this particular object. Okay, so again, we're going to close these curly brackets and then type destroy. Okay, and again, the object we want to destroy is the other object, so the object linked to the collider, linked to the object returned by the collision. So again, we just kind of read it backwards. So call.collider.gameObject. Okay, so once you have that, you should be pretty much okay to go. You just need to save your script and go back to Unity and check the console window for any errors. Okay, so again, once you are back into Unity, you can then so you can then take this script and drag and drop it on the player. Okay, and once this is done, now as we play the scene, so again we're going to clear the console window for the time being and play the scene. And as you play the scene, you should be able to see that the coin, but now there is a small issue. And again, what the issue is that the coin, the Z value is actually not 0, it's minus 10 or minus 100. So what we'll do is go back to this particular object here in the hierarchy, and then check its Z value. And as you will see, this value will be should be, so is about 100 or 102. So what we will do basically is to make sure that this value is 0. So again, we're going to change that and select 0 instead. Okay, so once this is done, you can actually check that the actual coin appears, that whenever you jump on it, it will actually disappear because it has been destroyed. Okay, so it's a very nice way to start with, and again, we use a function called onCollision, enter2d, which is basically a built-in function provided by Unity, but again, whenever you use it, you need to make sure that you're using the proper syntax. Including proper case. So again, it's case sensitive. And if you use all lowercase, for instance, at the start of the onCollision enter2d, it will not work because Unity will assume that you created a function that is basically onCollision enter2d, but it is looking for a function with onCollision enter2d with all uppercase. Otherwise, it just won't work. So again, there are a few things that, again, there are common errors whenever you start, but it's always good to be aware of those as you actually move on to your journey to creating games with Unity.